Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to see so many faces here today. My name is Dr. Cindy Thong, and I'd like to welcome you to our third annual Where Music Leads conference. I'm one of the co-organizers of this event alongside my wonderful colleagues, Dr. Amy Hillis and Lara Deutsch, and we're very thrilled to have everyone join us here today. So a little bit about Where Music Leads. Where Music Leads is an organization that seeks to provide resources for musicians exploring diverse career pathways, both highlighting and normalizing a broader range of career options, as well as the extensive skills and range of skills involved in developing a sustainable career. One pivotal question that ignited much of what you will hear this weekend throughout the conference is the following question that we asked ourselves. If we could go back in time and tell our 18-year-old musician selves something, what would it be? And so throughout this conference and this weekend, we hope that you'll be able to have some of those reflections shared by our colleagues and all of our wonderful panelists and guests. So a large thank you to everyone attending today. And I'd also like to extend a huge thank you to our collaborative partner, NYO Canada, our supporter, RBC Foundation, as well as our sponsor, Long and McQuaid. So a little bit of housekeeping just for the audience, in case this may be your first session of the day. There is a chat available, and this is open to all participants. So please say hi, please tell us where you're from, share any thoughts, any ideas that resonate with you from what panelists are saying. And you'll notice that there is also a dedicated Q&A box. And so for approximately the last 15 minutes or so of this session, we'll look to the audience for questions that you may have, particularly about anything that our guest, Béatrice Zawodnik, may have presented today or anything you have questions about. And these questions in the Q&A can be submitted both anonymously through the dedicated chat button. For our full schedule, more information about our upcoming sessions can be found on our website, www.wheremusicleads.com. So today's keynote session, Making Musicians, Shaping Humans, the Importance of Music Pedagogy, invites us to reflect on a very simple but powerful idea, how music education is not only about making musicians, but also how it shapes people. As musicians and educators, many of us have been and were trained to focus on excellence, on technique, on repertoire, on performance. All very important. But along the way, many of us have also encountered teachers who have shaped us far beyond the music itself, showing us another side of the impact of music pedagogy and education. In particular, globally, Switzerland is somewhat unique, rather unique, I would say, in that music education is recognized as a public good, meaning that it is supported at the national level of policy and constitution of the country. So this framework gives us a powerful starting point for asking deeper questions, not just about access, but about the purpose that music can serve in our lives and in a society. How do policy and pedagogy and institutional vision work together, come together in practice? How can music education respond to today's cultural and societal realities? And how can training institutions both reimagine and contextualize their roles in shaping both humans, musicians, and humans? So to that end, it's my great pleasure to welcome our keynote guest for this conversation, Béatrice Zawodnik. Madame Zawodnik is no stranger to the musical community in Switzerland. She is an extremely distinguished musician, educator, artistic curator, and institutional leader whose career spans over 2 decades at the intersection of performance, pedagogy, and cultural management. Throughout this time, she's established herself as a performer, both as a soloist, chamber musician, as well as an educator in a number of higher education settings. She holds numerous degrees and distinctions in the field of music, education, and management, including a virtuoso diploma in oboe and a Master of Public Administration. She has also co-founded and overseen the artistic and administrative management of several ensembles, including the Ensemble Vortex and the Ensemble Vide. Her leadership in music education has grown steadily over her career, previously acting as the coordinator of numerous pre-professional programs and teaching roles at institutions such as the Conservatoire de Musique de Genève, as well as the acting director of the Haute École de Musique de Lausanne previously. And today she is the director of one of Europe's oldest training music institutions, the Haute École de Musique de Genève in Switzerland. So please join me in welcoming Béatrice Zawodnik to this keynote conversation.
Thank you very much, Cindy. It's a big pleasure for me to be here with you through, of course, webinar, not in presence, but it's nice because it can really um, be everybody closer, even with a big distance. I'm speaking from Geneva. It's already evening for me, and I'm very happy to share some experience and some specificity of my institution and the evolution of this institution. I will maybe share my screen, so I will do a bit of context. Yes, here. I think it's working. I will put. Yes. The theme of this conference, of course, making music, musicians shaping human importance of music pedagogy. It comes really very well in resonance with the projet d'école, school project of the HEM. I'm director since 2022, and our vision is really music in a world in motion. But first of all, I will present you a little bit the outline of my conference. I wanted to tell some word about the origin of the Conservatoire de Musique de Geneva, and this movement between conservatoire and now Haute École Musique, high music education institution, and the school project, the methodology, how we build this school project, and how we live it now today. The Conservatoire de Musique, as Cindy told you, it's almost the oldest conservatoire in Europe. It was born 1835, and you see here it's the old city of Geneva. It was a small building, first of all, and then we have in this beautiful Place de Neuve, where you have the conservatory at the link from the picture. You have the Grand Theater. You have museum. It was all paid by private money. It was a lot of mécènes in Switzerland. In this moment for culture, they helped a lot musical education. You see the old building, and in 2021 they renewed all the Conservatoire de Musique, and it's a beautiful building, as you say. Maybe just very important figure where we're here. You see the Orchestre de la Suisse Romande with the conductor was Ernest Ansermet. But you had Franz Liszt, for example. He was teaching 1 year in the Conservatoire de Musique de Genève. You have Dinu Lipati, you have Émile Jacques Dalcroze. Maybe you know the methods, method music and movements. And more recently, you have Nobuko Imai, the viola player. And in the picture, you see Stravinsky too, with Ernest Ansermet, and Bobovi, because, you know, in Geneva, you have really this international life, multicultural, and it was the ethnomusicology was very important too in Geneva. That's an example. It was Émile Jacques Dalcroze when he was with his students. It was in Geneva, and his methods is very important in Geneva too. They can study this methodology in the Haute École de Musique too. And that you have a fantastic library with so many very historical and original parts and books. For example, maybe you don't see very well, but it was a piano class book from Franz Liszt, and sometimes he was explaining the technique of the student and everything, but here you have a name, and the only comment is good-looking eyes. So I think I'm not sure that today it could be really very well accepted, but it was 1836. And you have correspondence, you have the manuscript of the Firebird from Stravinsky in this library, and many other things. And what we have very interesting is, for example, from Claude Debussy, it's one orchestral piece, but you have the marks of very well-known conductor which conduct in the Orchestre de la Suisse Romande. That's, for example, a nocturne from Debussy. It's annotated by by Ernest Ansermet. So it's interesting to see how they were working. So it's really very rich. We have more than 150,000 documents. And now it's everything on SLSP, so you can have it through website too. So now that's very interesting, this movement from Conservatoire de Musique, very old institution, to Haute École de Musique. Why? Because, you know, the Bologna process from the 2000th year, we had in 2009 the division of the original Conservatoire de Musique in two institutions and with different missions. The Conservatoire de Musique, the Conservatoire de Musique in this beautiful building I showed you before. It's for beginners since when you have 6 years old or 4 years old until pre-college students before they are studying. And the Haute École de Musique for high music education. And it's this institution that I'm leading. And now we still don't have a real campus. We have many places where we are working now. We are waiting for some project. And in 2009, it was integration of the Haute École de Musique into the HESSO. It's very special because it's like University of Applied Science and Art. And you have so many domains. You have, of course, social work, you have health, you have business, you have design and art, you have engineering. And we are now part of this system. In Switzerland, you have a different system for high music, for high education. You have university, you have HESSO, it's Applied Science and Art. You have pedagogical music, not music institution. And you have EPFL, it's for science and for scientists. And then we had in this period many different parts of the institution who came. This music and movement department, who comes from the method Jacques Dalcroze, I had told you before, and early music department. But it was at the beginning in the Conservatoire Populaire de Musique in Geneva, and then the professional part came to the HEM. And we have another site in Neuchâtel. It's another city. It's 1 hour from Geneva, and we have still there 100 students. We have 500 in Geneva and 100 in Neuchâtel. And in 2014, it was very important that HESSO Geneva becomes an autonomous public institution. So a part of this bigger one. And if you want some numbers for HESSO, it's all the French part of Switzerland. You have 21,000 students for 7 cantons, 6 domains, as I told you before. And the missions are basic training, bachelor master, lifelong learning, research and innovation, and service provision. And in Geneva specifically, we have 6,400 students. And that's very interesting because we have all domains in Geneva, even if it's just a cantons, city cantons, we have all the domains. So it's very interesting, and we have a lot of opportunity to make some transdisciplinary things between domains. And we are a part of domain music and performing arts. We have 3 institutions, Geneva with Neuchâtel. We have music in Lausanne, Valais and Fribourg. And we have manufacture, who is for dance and theater. How is the HEM today? Today, we have 7 courses. We have more than 2,050 events, public events, and I don't count the 80 days of exams and public exams. 250 teachers and 615 students. The budget, global budget, is 32 million Swiss francs. So, and we are really an international institution. 41 nationalities. Nearly 1,000 applications each year for admission exam for 100 places. We are making online admission exam, and we have a team, administrative teams. And this year, for example, we had 235 graduates. And our campus is now spread across 10 different places. And one mission is research, and we have more than 80 research projects since 2004. And you have the opportunity to discover on our website if you're interested. I just wanted to show you one very small extract, just to smell the institution before I will come to the projet d'école. Oops, sorry, I have to move. Yes. So you can see last year was our 15th birthday because we are a very old institution, but as an HEM, it's just 15 years, so very young. So now about the school project. When I came 2022, my predecessor stayed 30 years in the institution, so a big history. And it was very important to rethink, to have really a new idea about the institution, to ask, okay, the big question, who we are, what are we doing, for whom and why? It was just basic question, but it was very interesting. Before I took the position, I visit and meet a lot of institutions in Switzerland, but in Europe, and I had a lot of contact to see a little bit how is the movement of the higher education institution. Then I read a lot of different books, and one article I would suggest you, if you are interested, is this Musicians as Makers in Society, a conceptual foundation for contemporary professional higher music education. It was Elena Gaunt, which is British. It was a working group on this question of the role of the musician in society, and that's inspired me a lot for our project, school projects. Then I did, of course, an analysis on the HEM, the strength, opportunity, weakness, and threats. I knew very well the institution because I was studying there, first of all, and then I had another position before as a head of study. So I knew really well the institution, and it was very interesting to make this exercise. Then, of course, it was important to put priority and strategy and to have an action plan. I wanted really to have a participatory process. I involved a lot of people, of course, professors, but administrative staff, assistants, students, alumni, and some external partner. And we had some target working group. And we did a lot of thinking because we changed all the branding, the visual identity of the institution. And then at the end, we really define a vision, values, and mission. Our vision is really this music in a world in motion. It was a reference to with our department, music and movement. It was very interesting for us. And the values, that was very important for me to have values. And then we can really think the education and all the curricula, thinking about these 3 points. Humanism, it's the first one, because I think, first of all, we are human beings, and our teacher, we are really trying to put them to in a world not so easy, but with this humanism, I think it could really help. Then audacity or boldness and curiosity, really to have this found, because I'm convinced the student they have today, there is place for every student, musician, professional, but we have to reinvent sometimes our profession. And then the school project had 4 strategic axes, and I follow these 4 strategic axes, of course, with different weight. The first is enhance educational offer, because we are trying, for example, we are now making a new master degree, and we are moving a little bit the plan, the curricula to have a more transversal skills to give to our students. Reinforce the HEM community. That was for me something very important. I will give some details a little bit later. Modernize HEM's brand and identity, as I told you. Expand engagement with society. That was a very important topic. And optimize facilities and infrastructure, because, you know, we lost the beautiful building and we have to find a new campus. So enhance the educational offer. It was really, of course, to have always this offer high quality teaching. But what we notice, we need to have a flexibility in study curriculum, because the profile of our students is really in evolution, and they need some very different skills now to be confident in when they are starting a professional life. And that's why to meet new demands of the profession, and develop artistic research and third cycle programs, because until now, the haute école spécialisée applied of we cannot deliver the doctorate. We can deliver if we are in collaboration with a university or another institution. And so, but research, artistic research, is really something we are developing a lot, even in the curricula of our students. And the lifelong learning offer, we know that what we offer now in high music education, it's quite new, for example, in the pedagogical sides. And now we see that the people who are already on the professional level, they need some different skills because of the evolution of the students too. in the conservatory in School of Music with special needs, and I think it's very important to be ready to help them to develop their skills. In the HEM community, for me, it was very important to think. Of course, we have this very strong idea in the music field. We have our master and student. This relationship is very specific, but we are changing a little bit the movement and think, okay, what is the project of the student and how we can help to achieve that? And it's not just the instrumental teacher or vocal teacher, it's really a team of teachers around the student to help him to bring him more. So it's really this idea of co-responsibility around the students. And so we are developing a lot of that. And of course, cross-disciplinary dynamic, give a voice to community members. It's very important to have always this different point of view, because it helps really an institution to move and to develop new program, new needs, to answer to new needs. And the health and well-being, it's something very important for us, and that's really a chance that we are in the same domain with the health, the haute école of health, because we are making projects together. The physiotherapists, they are giving some courses for our students to prepare them for not to have physical problem. And we are now trying to develop a preparation, mental and physical, mental lifelong learning proposal. And we are now starting to develop an alumni network. We are still not so good with that, and it's a shame because it's really the community. And as I told you, we have a very international community, and many people, there are some people who are staying in Switzerland to work then, but there are a lot of students, they are going back to their country, and it's really a community around the world. And I think it's the best ambassadors, and we can really share the values of the institution around. Modernize HEM brand and identity. That's maybe the point where we are very far away now. We changed the new website. You saw our logo is a sonor logo. You hear it at the end of the video. And we are working on the communication materials, and we try to increase the visibility in public spaces and online. And we know that we are an high music education, but we are a cultural actor for cultural offer, musical offer in Geneva. That's, for example, you can see on the website, we have a lot of video from alumni, from students, from our head of department, and they explain a little bit. So if you are interested, you can, of course, go. One very important aspect is expand engagement with society. It's really fully implement the concept of artistic citizenship. It's not only waiting that the public here is coming in our concert hall, but to go to the public, to ask, to try to, we say in French, susciter la demande. It's not only to answer to what they want, but we have to go to there and to propose something in different contexts. Our students are making a lot of projects of mediation. It can be in hospital, it can be in place where the people cannot move to come to the concert, but to propose something and to change, to think about the format of the concert. To, of course, in the pedagogical side, we have a lot of initiative, not only in Switzerland. We have some initiatives outside of the world. For example, we have a collaboration with the Conservatoire Edouard Said in Palestine. And of course, they don't have a teacher for musical, and our students are giving lessons through Zoom, distance lesson. We have a collaboration in Neogipa in Brazil, and our students are going 1 month in the summer to teach them and to have some exchanges. So They are really aware about this, the role of the musicians in the society. And we are trying to teach them that during the study that they can have some experiences and after the study. So of course we have these two things always, the local roots and international reach. We try really to have the both sides and expand and renew audiences for the concert and support the development of young local talents. That's very important because in Switzerland at school until you are matura, you have really a lot of hours. So it's not so easy to have music as a high level and to finish your school. And we are really trying to work together with public school and with the conservatoire to help the students to develop their career. Yeah, that's just the idea. We have our regional partner, of course, Geneva and Neuchâtel, the national network, Switzerland, and international network. That's some example of the festival or the orchestra with whom we are working, or educational, it's production institution and educational institution. And for facilities and infrastructure, of course, we are trying to enhance the centrality of our teaching location. But we are happy to have different places where we can have concerts. If you see in the small video, we have church, we have big hall, we have smaller hall, and it's interesting. But we hope to have one campus, and we are working on that. Thank you very much for your attention, and of course, I'm here to answer to the question. I will stop the sharing. Yes.
Thank you so much, Beatrice. It's such an interesting thing. So just so everyone is aware, I'm an alumni of the HEM, and I would say it was a life-changing experience. My time there was extremely formative. I actually suspended a doctorate to pursue a master's degree there, and I went back. But I think what's really interesting about the purview as well is the transformation of values and the vision throughout this long history dating from 1835, both geographically and the integration from as in, I guess, a private or individualized institution now into the body of a university. And then how does one maintain a vision and serving its students and its population in that way? I think it's extremely interesting just to see how that is created and continues to be created with this project and renewed over time as well with a new leadership and different ideas. So it's very refreshing to see. For context, something she had mentioned, which is just so people are aware, the 32,000 Swiss francs is about 56,000 Canadian of support towards students in terms of, I guess, educational commitment from the institution. But I would be very curious if you would share a little bit about your journey as a musician and how that experience has kind of led you to your current role and how you see the vision of this projet d'école that was conceptualized during your tenure.
Yes, it was. I must say, I have my professional career has been marked by important encounters. Really, it was meeting personality and opportunities, of course, that I have seized and that I have led me to my current position, actually, as director. I have always emphasized the importance of gaining hands-on experience in order to understand the inner work of an institution and project management. In French, we say mettre les mains dans le cambouis. I don't know if get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
Because it was important for me. I have had many roles at different stages of my career. Of course, as Cindy explained, I was an interpreter, but also curator of artistic projects, fundraising, budget preparation, communication. Then, as a teacher, responsibility for pre-college curriculum, for example. And I have always seen the role of manager as a responsibility rather than a position of power. What interests me in my role as a director is bringing project to fruition, gathering forces around a strong collective project. And in the context of HEM, This, of course, means serving the education of students to prepare them as well as possible for professional life. And that was really something very important from the beginning.
And I'm just wondering if, in that lens of preparing students for professional life, just shifting gears towards that orientation, if you could elaborate a little bit more on what the vision of skills of, for example, what kind of skills would you like a graduate of the HEM to leave with when they are finished, let's say their bachelor's degree or even a master's?
I think what is very important is this capacity to have a Zoom, very close Zoom, and longer Zoom, because of course when they are students, they are working so hard on a technique, on their musical development, artistic, and sometimes they see that as an end. And actually it is important to keep it, because we need this excellence to find a position later. But it's important to make this zoom out sometimes, and to think, okay, which skills do I need to enter in the professional life? If I want to be an orchestra musician, of course
Mhm.
we need this excellence for the preparation. But after, you can gain a position, but how is the life in orchestra? What means to be in orchestra? What is the relationship between the different roles? And now the orchestra, I don't know if it's the same in North America and Canada, but in Europe, they weight other skills of the student. They need that they can explain what they are doing, that they can go to the public, not just play, but they can have this link. They can speak
Mhm.
about what they are doing. They
Mhm.
can have a capacity to communicate not just with the music but with the words.
Mhm.
And I think that's the skill we are developing in different fields. They prepare some concert médiation. They have to think about which public, for which public, and then what you want to say for this public if you want to bring them,
Mhm.
and to do something. So to speak, experience to communicate. And of course, if you want to build an ensemble, chamber music ensemble, and you want to show you to different festivals, to propose your program, you have to think how to build a program. Because how you put the pieces together, why you put these pieces together, what is your strong idea? Because a director of festival, he wants to be surprised, because if
Mhm.
and he want to, you have to. So we are trying to to help the student to think, okay, you have to search for repertoire who is not so often played. You
Mhm.
can have big pieces, but maybe you can show something in resonance, so it will attract, it
Mhm.
will be curious, because you propose something. Maybe you want to do something with interdisciplinarity, with text, with movement, with something. How you build your program. So we are trying to help them to develop their own idea, but to think about that.
Mhm.
And then, of course, more practical thing: how you make a budget, how you prepare a demand, how you will do an interview, how you prepare your dossier, but then how you speak about you, how you are preparing you when, for example, you want to apply for a conservatory to teach. How you prepare you to know exactly what is the spirit, the philosophy of this institution. Why in this institution more than in another, and how you present you actually. Because of course, playing beautifully, it's not the only thing.
Mhm.
It's not enough.
Could not more wholeheartedly agree with that. And I'm wondering then, because so many institutions have very different perspectives on this and in terms of how they support. So in your view and kind of your purview of what you've experienced, all of the um, perspectives that you've accumulated, how would you say institutions can help support these very unique paths that students will embark on, especially because I was kind of going through the Projet des Codes, there is a very clear acknowledgement that there's a large freelancing autonomous portion or of type of work of the portfolio musician today. So I'm just wondering if you might share a few thoughts on how institutions, even educators in general, can help support these skills that are cultivated outside of the music making itself.
I think the very important thing is what I present before. It's the meaning of co-responsibility around the student, because
Mm,
the student have in institution a lot of different teacher with a lot of different
mhm,
experiences, and I think that's very important when a student come and to study, he has sometimes an idea about what he wants to do or achieve. But sometimes it's not the right way for him or for her. And maybe we can help her or he to think a little bit out of the box and to open opportunities, to open different ways to make experiences. And I think the institution are the best place for that, because we can try many things, even if it won't be what we want to do. If finally it's another way, but minimum you can really go closer what you want to do, or sometimes what
mhm,
you don't want to do, because it's very important. For example, when I was a student, I had the opportunity to work with a composer in the institution. He wrote a piece for me, and it was very difficult at the beginning. I thought, oh my God, I can never play this piece. And then it was suddenly one some such an experience, and that I couldn't imagine what it opened then in my life. In
mhm,
my professional life, I had the opportunity to travel a lot, to meet other composers, to be in an ensemble. So I think it's important to for the educators to really bring the student the more curiosity, the more open, and try things when you are young, because really it can open doors you cannot imagine.
mhm. I think so many people can also resonate with that and having those impactful experiences that are quite life-changing in a way. They just set you off in a direction, make you believe that things that you may not have thought you were even possible, thought were possible
Yeah.
now are because you just did them. I think that's so special and just how that shapes how we choose to move forward, both as educators or performers or whatever path one embarks on. I'm wondering then, because the educators are such a pivotal part, let's say of an institution or any school, whether conservatory, even a local public school, how can institutions, what ideas could you share perhaps on how they can try to ensure that that pedagogical excellence or openness, that co-collaboration evolves alongside the artistic side? How, if someone is, let's say, maybe wishing to open a school one day of even teaching young beginners, right? That's always very important, as Kodai said. So I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on that. How can one, for lack of better wording, scout for these qualities? And how can students learn to become those type of educators in the future?
That, that's a very good question. I think we can help in the institution with the for example the master in pedagogical that we
Mhm,
have. Of course, we are trying to share these values and this evolution of the education,
mm,
and that I think we will have always more pedagogical. They will be more conscious, because
mhm,
I we have a lot of educator. It was a lot of instinct, and
mm,
not. I remember even in my generation, we didn't have such very high level skills as pedagogical. Now, I think we have really a big evolution, and we can really go faster to
mhm,
understand how to build the young students better and better. And
mhm,
I think you told with beginners, and I'm convinced we need the best pedagogue for the beginners.
mm,
It's of course when you are in a high music education, you think already the maybe the technical parts, the basic are already here, and you can speak a lot about artistry and musicality and everything. But when you have to learn the basic things, that's so important that you have the best teacher, because we know that it gives really confidence for this young
mm,
musician. And then one day some want to do professional studies, they have the basic. And I think it's something very important. And the other things, maybe it's to have complementary profiles in an institution.
Mm.
That's what I'm doing now because we have a lot of renew teacher because the baby boomers, they all go retired. But it's an opportunity too, because if you have a different personality, it's very interesting. I think it's
Mm.
a complementary, not to have just one line, but to have really different, and to try to make this strong personality working together. For example, in HEM, we try to make masterclass, internal masterclass. For example, I don't know, a singer teacher who is specialist for the French melody, and they will give for all singer teacher students in the institution this thing. Or somebody is very good by auditioning for opera, they will give them a seminar or for all. And I think this idea that helps really because everybody think, okay, we have something specific and we can share with the others. I think that's really important. If that's maybe the this co responsibility, co
Yeah,
constructing. Yeah,
I think such a beautiful way too. It's almost like picking a it's like when we see an all-star team of sports players and they are all stars, but they may not function well together as a team.
exactly.
So it's such a beautiful perspective of really curating and ensuring the interests of the students and wanting to share this desire to, not keep this my secret. But I think it sounds like it's really a cultivation also of this
Yes.
value that
Yeah.
isn't that can be easily taken for granted. It's I
But
think
it's a
it's
work of every day because, of course, we know, and the artists they have a very strong ego. It's very
mm,
positive because it's a strong personality. But we have to make the ego working together to try to think. Okay, when they are, it's different when I'm on stage and I'm a soloist as a teacher, and when I
mhm,
teach, I have another role. It's another identity.
mhm,
You are all, of course, with all your capacities and experience, but in this role, you are really at the service of your student
mm.
development. Not are you ego. It's another moment. So we are. I'm speaking a lot about this thing with a teacher.
I think it's a beautiful reminder to all of us all the time.
Yes,
For student first, right?
yes,
Because it can, there's such unique relationships and very privileged relationships to
of
have to
course.
see
It's a
someone grow,
fantastic.
whether they're 5 years old, 18, 20,
Yeah.
25. So I think it's a very humbling reminder all the time to have this.
But
Um,
music education is very strong because often for small kids,
mhm,
it will be the first adult where they have a one-to-one relationship
mhm,
uh, out of the family circle. So it's very
mhm,
strong, very, and it's
mhm.
a big responsibility.
hmm Ab Not just to music, but even personally, to trust, to learn what it's like to have that opportunity.
Yes.
I'm wondering if we could shift gears very quickly. I'm just wondering, because I think one of the very special things about Switzerland as a country and the music that lies there within is the role that of how it is supported by the Constitution. So I know we had chatted earlier this week, and you had mentioned it was voted publicly into the Constitution almost by majority, meaning it was really very much a public value. I'm wondering if you could speak more to that and how that commitment shapes perhaps your way of how you perceive your role as let's say, at the forefront of a music institution, and also how you think it might impact the way people may perceive music education since it is publicly supported and in that sense.
Yes, that's true. It's really unique in Switzerland because music education has been explicitly anchored in the Swiss constitution since 2012. Uh, you must know that in Switzerland, there are votes on all issues. We vote on everything, and it's really a direct democracy, the system. But few issues are unanimously agreed agreed upon. And for certain issues, you need a double majority. And that means a majority of the people, but also from the cantons. There are 26 cantons in Switzerland, and just 7 are French-speaking. The other one are German, one Italian, and one Romansh. And the Swiss really voted 72.7 of the vote for this inscription of the music in the constitution. That's incredible. And every canton vote. In Geneva, it was almost 87% yes. So we really, it's something which really help the music, the education of music. It's a part for everybody. And there was two different important things. There was democratization of the music. It means everybody must have the opportunity to study music, to have music education. It's music in the public school, so it's not an instrument, but you have music in all curricula when you are small kids until you are big. And it was the sustain, it was for the young talent, to help the young talent to have the opportunity to prepare for professional studies, or these pre-college curricula are very important. And of course, the relationship with my role too and how it's implemented, it's up now to musicians and institutions to seize this unique opportunity to strengthen music education at all levels. Music school, conservatoire, in all public school, and young talent. And now, since 2023, the HEM coordinates the pre-college curriculum. The students are between 15 and 19, almost, and they are still at school preparing their baccalaureate to ensure the best possible link between basic training and professional music studies. So there are a lot, and not just in Geneva, in all Switzerland, we have a lot of link between the basic training and the higher music education to help them to be prepared for that. And for example, maybe you don't know, but in Switzerland, the students, they have a fee of 2,000 Swiss francs per year, but the real cost of the study is 55,000 Swiss francs for 1 year. And it's the taxes and of the Swiss people who pay for the studies for everybody, for the international and Swiss students. That's really something strong and very important in Switzerland.
Yeah, I think, and it's incredible to see that mandate as well, because as we can see, I mean, especially in Canada, North America, and other places, as soon as there is a budgetary crisis, fine arts programs are the first, frequently, I don't want to say exclusively, to be affected, even in our public schools. So while some countries do have support, it's not mandated to the same extent as within the Constitution, to say the least. I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit more about how the conservatories and public schools, how they complement each other in the sense of, let's say, more, because you had alluded to the kind of more preliminary training outside of, within, let's say, a young child is exposed. And then how does that grow into or supported by more professional training programs? Just so the audience may have an idea of how that is structured, how they complement each other, since there is a mandate essentially to provide a high quality education.
So the public school, we have, it's for all kids, and they have music, not instrument, but music at school, and some have orchestre en classe. It means they can do orchestra in class, but they learn an instrument it's collective. Collective music. And the School of Music and Conservatory, they have the mandate from the state to give this musical education. And inside all this School of Music or Conservatory, They have some talent program. So when the kids are between already 8 until 12 or
Mm-hmm.
or 13, they can go in it's intensive program. So
Mm-hmm.
they have more time with an instrumental vocal lessons, and they
Mm-hmm.
have an environment with chamber music with some specific
Mm-hmm.
projects, some masterclass with a teacher from the HEM, from
Mm-hmm.
the, and then they have this pre-college for yes, student for 14 until 19, and for these students we have more relationship with the teacher on the haute école de musique. For example, the admission exams, they are professors from the haute école de musique. They give masterclass to these young talented students. We make between the student of haute école de musique and this young, they have a relationship, so they can a little bit understand better
Mm-hmm.
what it means
Mm-hmm.
study musical
Yeah.
studies. They can, of course, come to all the classes to listen
Mm-hmm.
to the project, and we make sometimes some project together to give them a little bit the smell of what
Mm-hmm.
could be to study music. So it's very complementary.
I
It
think
works
that's
well.
also, and I think it's also, thank you so much, because I think it's also so important. Because it can almost feel like a huge dive if one has to commit to it at, let's say, age
Yes,
18. I'm going to commit my life to this or to do an undergraduate. So it's so nice to see that there's a support outside of, let's say, a more privatized system where you may, take private lessons and then decide at some point to enter a program. It's a really inspiring tier towards that.
yeah. And we have, I forgot to tell that in the public school, we have now a little bit better situation that the, the young musician, when they are in a cursus, intensive cursus or
Hmm.
pre-college, they have the possibility to have a little bit less school, the free afternoon, three
Hmm.
free or four after free afternoon to practice
Hmm.
music. So now it's moving a little bit. It was long and slow, but now I think it's much better for the young musician to have a little bit time. It's
I
the
think
same for the sport. They can have some free.
I mean, that sounds incredible. I mean, I don't know what high school or junior teenage student would not like to have time to practice if they were pursuing that
That's a dream.
during their day-to-day schooling, right? It's almost like a dream. Um, I'm wondering, because as we know, despite so many of the constitutional backings, there are always challenges that every institution will face in maintaining and always optimizing and cultivating their values and vision for their students and population that they serve. I'm wondering what you feel are some of the biggest challenges facing music institutions and both educators today. Whether you could extrapolate that largely or what you kind of see at the forefront.
I think we have to be always more flexible and to be really very creative um, to reinvent our profession of musician, to have a little bit um, to be very open, to have different possibilities, and to build new concepts. To have, I think it's very important, and to be poly uh, polyvalent.
Polyvalent, yes.
Polyvalent,
Yeah.
polyvalent. I think it's very important, even if we need to be excellent, because with polyvalence, it doesn't mean that everything is not at the good level, but we
Hmm.
have to be excellent, but then to be opened, because I think now it's changing a lot, but before it was really you had a big hierarchy in the different métiers de la musique. You have, okay, you are solist, you have a place in an orchestra, and maybe you teach if you are not enough good. And now it's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Really, many profession, they have all the best values, but we have to the teacher have to be very open for that, because it's
Mm.
very important how they transmit to the students to really find for each student what is a good way, because not
Mm.
every student can be a solist, not every student can be in orchestra, but we need them too in
Hmm.
different in different parts of the musical world, in production too, in direction of higher music education, or as a project manager and everything. And I think it's very important to give the students today confidence that they can find their place in this world, in this musical
Mm.
world, but they have to be open. And I think that's the biggest challenge: is not to be closer, and we need to defend the music as a essential common good. No, bien commun. Common good. No, how you
Common
say?
good. Yes,
Yes,
common good.
I
Yes.
think it's very important to tell them. If you imagine in the life of everybody, even the people who doesn't want to sustain the culture, but who doesn't listen to music in
Mm.
their life in so many different situations. Of course,
Mhm.
in positive moments, but in hard moments too. And the music is everywhere, and we need
Mhm.
to show that and to be very present for that and positive with that. And I think it's a challenge to make to really to give the music this the place that she needs to have. It needs to have, and to yeah, to be positive.
I could not have imagined that more well articulated. Thank you so much. And I think that's something everyone should hear, every educator, in a constant reminder, because we do for take for granted that it's everywhere, and
Mhm.
how we need people to occupy and produce those spaces, not just as performers, but in everything that brings any musical activity to life. It's
Mm,
Thank
that's
you.
true.
Before we shift to the Q&A, I just have two, I guess, a few final questions for you. I'm wondering what gives you hope about the future of music education?
What I hope,
What gives you hope? Yes.
I, I'm very confident about the new generation who is coming now.
Mm,
I think really, okay, I know we have the global situation of the world is really not so nice in this moment.
mm,
You can,
mm,
and I have the impression the young people, they want really to be positive. They want to show. So I'm confident that they will really be better than our generation, maybe to 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 really to change a little bit all this question of of political and negative and wars everywhere, and I have the impression they want really to find again this humanism. It's one of the value of the
mm,
HEM, because this relationship with the people and music, it's really the best way, because when we listen to people playing, they cannot be with EA or they cannot be numeric, or
yeah,
we feel it. It's physical. It's really
mm,
something, and I think it's a chance. We have a chance. So I have hope in the new generation, and in the fact that the people, they really want now real relationship, and
mm,
again to find this moment where we are sharing together in a concert, and
mhm.
to see musicians playing, and uh, I'm sure we are in a good direction, even if
That's
it's not so positive at the beginning of 26. But I'm an optimistic person.
and good things come even if things can be difficult at the beginning. And I think
Yes,
that's in an increasingly digital world, I think that human connection is so special and
yes, I'm
needed, right? That
yes.
connection.
Mm, yeah.
I'm wondering if you had to sum up, final question before Q&A. There's some wonderful questions in the Q&A. If you had to sum up your philosophy of music education in one word, what might it be? What would it be?
um, Being rather than doing. I don't know.
Mm,
It's really, I think it's come from the human being. Of course, it's doing, it's playing and everything, but
mhm.
it's really with the authenticity,
Authenticity. Yeah.
authenticity,
Yeah.
and sharing. It's really, I think it's sharing.
Hmm. Being and not doing. I think I'll put that on my office door.
Yeah.
That's that's
And I always say to the people when I have a lot of competition for a position or like that.
Hmm.
For me, I always say, what you are doing, it's very important. Of course, your level and what you are bringing to the institution,
Hmm.
but who you are is
Hmm.
equal important. How you build a relationship with your student, how you are in the collective group, it's very important. And I think we will be much more stronger as musicians if we are putting this value of being and sharing generosity.
I think that's such a common theme about the person behind the music is as almost as
Yeah.
powerful sometimes, right? And the role of being a colleague, being every relationship is so special. Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, there are a few questions in the Q&A. Let's see here from an anonymous attendee. What do you think makes the best teacher? What qualities are important for being a good pedagogue? That's a very loaded.
We were speaking with Cindy because we had the same teacher, and
Mm,
I must say that what for me is the most important is really when the teacher can um, bring,
share or bring.
can take
Yeah.
really what is inside his or her student and bring, transcend their quality, or to bring him really high. It's not how you say that. It's really to give the that every student is unique. So
Hmm.
you don't have one always the same thing to teach, how you teach, but you take what you are in front of you, your student, what is inside his your student, and to bring it to make to transcender. I have to find the word.
To
In
transcend.
Yes, to transcend
Mm,
the personality,
yeah.
and I think that's the most important. Rendre to give every student unique, and but really to start from the students.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, as Beatrice had just mentioned, we had a shared teacher, a generation apart, most likely.
Yes,
But
exactly.
I will say, had always felt he knew me better than I knew myself, which is funny to say. But I
Okay.
felt
Yeah,
he saw things in me that I had not seen at that time. But,
exactly.
but
Reveal.
yes,
Yes,
100%.
yes.
Um, this is an addition to that. Do you require your performance faculty, so I guess your the instructors, the professors at the HEM, to take any type of pedagogy training?
Um, yes, we are trying now to make some collective work on specific topic.
Hmm.
For example, this question of co-construction of around the student. We did some workshop on that to
Hmm.
understand that, and about this question of double identity. To think, okay,
Hmm.
I'm an artist, but I'm a teacher, and how I manage when I teach this thing. We were doing thing about health, to have to be careful, how you say, before something happened,
Preventative?
yeah,
Yeah.
preventative, to be really aware and to try to make some exercise, really concrete exercise before. We are The musicians are the only sportive who are not doing échauffement warm up and after, and just to make them conscious and maybe very aware when they see in their student if somebody is in a dangerous posture. So we are
Hmm.
doing some such thing. Then, of course, the teacher can ask to make some specific uh, um, uh, formation if they want to. But we always, and for example, the EA, international in intelligence, artificial intelligence, we gave some workshop on that to
Hmm.
make them aware about this thing too.
Hmm.
Not how to use it, and
Hmm.
how to use it in a artistic, and maybe to be careful how it can be used. So to think.
Hmm. I think that's incredible too, because a faculty in any institution often spans multiple generations, people in their 60s, 70s, sometimes older, and younger, right? So different levels of exposure and comfort. So I think it's incredible to have that unified discussion.
Yes, I
Um,
think it's important because we need
mhm,
to share, to share the values. I come again to the values, but and for the students, it's very interesting to have this different of generation. It brings
mm,
different things and from other perspective, and that's very interesting.
No, it's very thought-provoking,
And
these
they
things.
like to share. They like
Hmm
sharing that between generation, young
hmm
and more older teacher.
Wonderful complement of personalities you have.
Yes, yes, that's true.
The last two questions. I think we have time for both. How does the HEM include non-musical skills, things like budgeting, marketing, I guess entrepreneurial skills in its
Yes,
curriculum? Are these taught in required classes or through extra workshops? Are they included in the operating budget of the institution?
yes, it's included in the budget, and we are doing different things for bachelor, for undergraduate students. We make different things. We make like a forum where we invite a lot of association and different part of these skills, so
Hmm
they can understand what is what they have to be aware already.
hmm
And
hmm
and in master degree, they have three different possibilities. There is one course, regularly courses each week, where they speak about how you build a budget, how you how you prepare a document, how you can build your program. But in master, sometimes you have students, they already are really, uh, they are doing a lot of things. So we are working on their own project. For example, a string
hmm
quartet who wants to make to present for different festivals. And we will help him with different skills from a different person, how to communicate a new project, how to build, and it will be on their own project. And the
hmm
third possibility is to make a stage in in an institution of production. Maybe they can be in a Orchestre de la Suisse Romande and they can work on stage with them to how to build the stage or in the communication or mediation department. So they have this opportunity. We are trying to make this flexible because the
hmm
profile of the student master degree, it's very different. You have a student, they are still young in their in these skills, and some they are
hmm
already very present in social media with their own
hmm
web page, and some. So we try to really to help everybody to go a little bit further.
I think that's incredible. Um, Especially just the institutional support of an ongoing or potential project. Let's say if a student is already perhaps already embarked on a semi-professional career.
Yes, exactly.
That's
And
a
what is interesting is um, that we try really to separate. It depends of the level of the students, but it brings really it gives capacity for the students to make their progress. And we are making some competition because we got some money from a foundation, and
Mm,
the student can propose a project, a very
mm.
specific project, and we can sustain with this money. It's like a competition.
Okay. It's very inspiring to see what role how this ecosystem is so symbiotic that this co-responsibility within teachers, but also just institution and students and government as well. It's very this symbiotic relationships is very fascinating to kind of could be an interesting case study. I'll end with a final question before we wrap things up. What do you think musical training provides students who don't end up pursuing music professionally? And how does it help them in life otherwise?
I'm convinced that we have a lot of transposed competence skills that we are doing as a musician, and and that's really something who is strong. When I told before, we have to reinvent the old, the lot of the profession of the musician, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's out of the musician field because I'm sure this competence can really help a lot of other entreprise or institution. Of
Hmm.
course, we have the capacity of concentration, and today I must say it's a high quality.
Commodity.
I mean, it really the perseverance. It means discipline because we can really work very strongly and with a big concentration.
Hmm.
How you listen to people, that's a
Mm.
quality which you don't have everywhere. And
Mm.
the creativity, because we need to reinvent, even if we play a Mozart concert, which was played since many 100 years, it's always we need as an interpret, be creative, how you want to make this music yours. And I think
Mm.
this capacity can be very transferable,
Mhm. Transferable.
in other domain. So
Mm.
I'm convinced, even if a musician finally doesn't want to work as a musician, he will be very interesting for many other domains and for the cultural field because it will be somebody who loves music who will go to the concert. So for the
Mm.
industry of the music, it's somebody important too, even as a meloman, uh,
Hmm. We don't
music.
only need musically educated musicians, but just a musically educated population. It's very wise words. But well, I would love to answer more of the questions. But thank you so much for your time, Beatrice, for your insights during today's session, and for sharing so much. Your generosity is really appreciated. Just for these insights into how music education and pedagogy can exist elsewhere and how it functions at a given moment in time, especially with one of Europe's longest standing music institutions, and just this transformation and reinvention, I think would be the word. So thank you so much for your generosity, and also thank you for the audience for your time and engagement and wonderful questions. So a quick note that our next session for this conference will begin at 2:15 p.m. EST, which is presenting music broadcasters, recording engineers, and artistic directors. So the panel will be discussing how they present music to the public, whether by recording it, how they select and introduce it for radio play, or how they curate it for concert series. It will discuss how to best perhaps showcase today's musical artists and what they're looking for. And these panelists will include Denise Ball from CBC, James Clement Seeley, who is a recording engineer professor, sound recording engineer professor at McGill University, and Isaac Page from CBC Music as well. For our full schedule, please check out our website at www.wheremusicleads.com. And thanks again both to Beatrice and the audience for joining us, and we hope to see you again. Thanks so much and take care.